Satanic practice of Satanism. That's worship of the devil. Now, police have been skeptical when investigating these acts, just as we are in reporting them. But there is no question that something is going on out there.
Satanism is very real. The consequences of Satanism are very real. There are really hurting people because of the presence and the activities of Satanism.
Clues are there. The satanic symbol 666, if you see that written on your child's notebook, if they're into heavy metal music, if they're associating with strange characters or drifting off to ceremonies and not explaining where they're at, it's well worth it for parents to look deeper and ask, what exactly are you up to?
My name is Zeke Apollyon, and I am, I guess, the founder of the Order. I started what has turned into the Global Order of Satan about 6 years ago. When it started out, it was a fledgling organization, and it was one that needed a lot of time, and it took up a lot of time to put together. It was something that was a labor of love, I think, for everybody involved. Everybody was keen to participate. There was a lot of uptake.
I'm Andy Diabolos, and I'm one of the chapter co-heads for the UK chapter of the Global Order of Satan. I like to joke that actually Brexit and Trump turned me into a Satanist. It was around about 2016. We have three parts to what we do. We have community, activism, and ritual. And so the community part is basically getting Satanists together, having socials, having community-based activities. The activism is organising around causes that we feel strongly about, and doing things online or maybe things offline. And then we have the ritual part, which is we will go out and we will conduct rituals, satanic rituals. The term Satanist and Satanism was first widely used in the time of the Reformation, when the Catholic and Protestant churches were breaking apart, and both sides were accusing each other of being in league with the devil. And so because of that, they started using the words Satanist and Satanism widely. Now, because of that pretty much from that point onwards, the church has used those terms as a way to demonize, literally, people, and to ostracize them, to attack them, to kill them, to even murder them.
Satanism is a response to prescriptive living. Modern day Satanism is a concept that really has to be unpacked. Satanism is a construct. Well, Satan is a construct that was amalgamated from various religious texts and used in dualistic cosmology to create this notion of good and evil for people that really struggled to reconcile the difficult things that happen in life with a just and good God.
One of the things that we stand for is that we are Satanists because of the fact that we want to define what Satanism is, rather than have the church, any church, define it for us and call us it. And so therefore we want to show this, and we feel that that any kind of overreaching religion, we've got no problem with people being religious. If If you are a religious person, that's absolutely fine. But if you use that to attack someone, then that's a problem.
Satanism as a whole is a term that incorporates various ideologies that have some similar central themes, but it can also have differences. Our version of Satanism is one that's a little bit more magnanimous, that's focused on self-improvement and self-care, but in a way that also benefits the greater community. I feel like it's also important to say about Satanism, and maybe it's been said by other people, but about Satanism, it's important to say that there is a component of rebellion to it. It is about standing up to authority, and it is about doing things in the name of justice over the written word. And sometimes laws have to be broken, and sometimes sometimes laws are just in place to protect wealthy people or white people or other people, but not the people who are vulnerable. And Satanism requires a more critical eye.
Of course, we don't believe in a god or a devil. We are Satanists, but we don't worship Satan.
I think the ritual process is important in any religion, and I think the ritual process is important to humanity. Our existence is predicated on ritual. We survive via ritual. It's an incredibly useful tool in our day-to-day life, not just in a religious setting, but in, you wake up and you have your own ritual in the morning. You go through the steps that you do to get yourself ready for the day. Ritual in the context of Satanism is our method of performing a community cohesive engagement with each other. It's our way of establishing connections between ourselves within the group and setting ourselves into the right satanic mindset. So whilst it's easy to fall back into the normal way of thinking in the world, without thinking in a satanic mindset on a day-to-day basis, performing in a ritual, taking part in the ritual, standing with fellow Satanists, confirming that you do reject the teachings that we've been forced upon ourselves by a Christian-based society, confirming that we don't believe in the superstitious nonsense of the past, confirming that we will reject these things when they rear their heads, and confirming that we stand against everything we have set our minds against. It sets yourself in the right frame of mind to do the work that we do and to continue acting as a Satanist.
What happens in a ritual depends on what the ritual's purpose is. It might be an initiation ceremony, it might be an intention setting ceremony, it might be a performative declaration of a perceived injustice that's meant to express through psychodrama our beliefs about a particular issue.
There's no dancing around it. Satanism is still perceived negatively in the general populace. I think most people don't give it much thought on a day-to-day basis, but when the word does come up, it's used in a negative context. People throw it around as a catch-all term for something that's bad, whether it has anything to do with Satanism or not. People just use it as a general term to try and demonize something that they don't like. When it comes to mainstream media's portrayal of Satanism, it's a narrative that's very easy for them to latch onto, that the word Satanism is again used as a catch-all term for anything bad. They don't have any true desire, it doesn't benefit them in any way, to go into the nuances of what Satanism actually is and what we actually believe and practice, when it's much easier for them to use the word Satanism as an alarmist and titillating term to try and apply an extra level of intrigue to a crime that has nothing to do with Satanism whatsoever. We're doing everything we can to promote a genuine vision of Satanism in the media. We're trying to get our voice out there and show that whilst, yes, we do like to dress up in robes and perform rituals, those rituals are positive, affirmative affairs. They're not negative. There's nothing evil or damaging about them.
They have a question in the back of their mind, and they're saying to themselves, does this prove the existence of Satan? See, that's not the question that we were approaching. That's not what we were trying to do. We weren't trying to prove anything. Yeah. What we were trying to do, and I feel have accomplished, is we have shown that Satanism is very real. The consequences of Satanism are very real. There are really hurting people because of the presence and the activities of Satanism.
Clues are there. The satanic symbol 666, if you see that written on your child's notebook, if they're into heavy metal music, if they're associating with strange characters or drifting off to ceremonies and not explaining where they're at, it's well worth it for parents to look deeper and ask, what exactly are you up to?
And with whom?
Because this is serious.
The Satanic Panic was a period of a couple of decades that was characterized by thousands of allegations of sexual abuse around America. Some of it was fueled by a book that was written by a discredited author who was a devout Catholic that had an affair with one of his patients and wrote, while he was married, and wrote a book about it called Michelle Remembers. And he used a discredited practice of recovered memory, which is discredited because of the conflation that can happen and the suggestibility that can happen in creating false memories. This popularity of the book ended up creating this kind of moral outrage that has since been completely discounted. Of the 12,000 or so cases that were launched or the complaints, basically nothing was kind of came to any fruition about it. The entire thing really expanded. It became a trend. Talk show hosts picked up on it. It started being reported a lot in the media. It scares people. So the Satanic Panic was really informed by sensational media, devout religious people in positions of power or authority, false accusations. It just continued to spread. You know, we still experience these things today, except now we call it QAnon. People are afraid of anything unusual. We don't have to be in hoods for people to be scared of us. We don't want people to be afraid of us. You know, I would love for more people to come around and to enjoy knowing their true selves and living in their own truth.
I find it very unlikely that Satanism will ever become as common as entrenched religions. The future for the global order of Satan looks very much as though we want to keep expanding our outreach. So we want to keep offering greater levels of help to those who want input with their own satanic journey, and they want some people to work with, to seek guidance from, to seek inspiration from, shall we say.
We are much better served when we have all of the information. Don't just stick a Gideon's in the drawer somewhere. Have a resource library with all of the different faiths present so that people can make choices for themselves about what suits them. You know, not everybody's Christian. Most people aren't. It doesn't really make sense to try and impose these beliefs on people except to serve the higher power structures that exist.
I know some people can have a really negative view of this concept of Satanism, you know, the whole baby sacrificing thing. And I'm slightly wary about folks misunderstanding it. I'm not super open about it. I certainly don't hide it. And folks that I know me, I'm happy to be out and open with them, and they just understand that Satanism is just a natural extension of who I am.
I don't think I have become a Satanist. I have always been one. It's just, it took me a few years to find the words and the people where I feel like I belong. But you know, if you are one, you know that it's deep inside of you. It will stay with me. If I'm mentally okay, it will stay with me, and I will stay with it forever.
I am very optimistic about the future of the global order of Satan. I think that life is cyclical, and we have been through thousands of years of oppressive ideology, and that more and more people are beginning to understand that these ideas and these prescriptive notions of the way that one is supposed to conduct one's life are becoming obsolete. And there is a growing recognition of how oppressed we are by religion systemically. And my ideas about the future for us, and some of this might be wishful thinking, but I would love for there to be a greater understanding, and we will certainly work towards that, but a greater understanding of what Satanism really means for the individual and what the benefits are of belonging. And at the same time, we do not proselytize, we do not advertise ourselves to people. Satanism, it is very important as a fundamental principle for us that it is something that people approach on their own terms. But as far as it goes for us as an order, we will continue to put our messages out into public spheres and have a presence as we combat tyranny and injustice as we see it. And the more that you see injustice and tyranny, the more you'll see us.